Unsung Murder Ballads is a true crime podcast, and as such, we will be discussing topics that are disturbing, graphic, and often violent in nature. So this is not for children under the age of 13.
But you know this because you did start playing this episode. So here are some things you might not know about us.
We are going to be critical of mistakes made by both criminals and law enforcement.
We're going to express our views on things that you might not always agree with.
We will occasionally go on an off-topic tangent.
And we're going to use dark humor to express ourselves now and then.
So if you're easily triggered, this might not be the podcast for you.
However, if this is your cup of tea, then raise your pinky finger while you sip and join us for this week's horrific case, you sick bastards.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Unsung Murder Ballads. This is episode 155. I am Janus Dead.
And I'm Joyous Dead.
All right, so this week we have, I say this every week, we have something different. This week...
I sure hope so.
Yeah, we're going to talk about the same thing we did 2 weeks ago.
Bring it back. I probably already forgot.
Again, that would be a funny April Fool's Day joke. I really would be.
It would be. Just wait until Joyous figures it out.
That would be hysterical. You know, at some point you're like, wait a minute, this is my life.
Yeah. Wait, is there someone coming to get me? Oh shit.
That'd be really fucked up. Like a horror movie where things are happening in real time. That would be awful.
Oh.
Like as I say, someone knocks at the door, someone knocks on your door. That'd be terrifying.
Very spooky. Okay, I'm probably spooked. What are we talking about this week?
Well, we're going to start off. The teaser's a little different. I'm going to start the teaser off with a question. We're going to talk about ourselves a little bit for the teaser. Then we're going to slide into this. And the reason this is quote unquote different is this was recently in the news. And when we'll get to why at the end, obviously. But I felt the need to talk about this finally. So as a result of this. So that's why we're talking. So if you suddenly know what I'm talking about, let me know. That'd be crazy.
Are we talking about Karen Reed?
We are not talking about Karen Reed. I have my research done for that. I'm actually waiting to see if there's going to be a follow-up before I finalize that. But again, I think we both know so much about that it's hard to do that one right away.
Right, and the other one that was in the news recently that I know of is Jack the Ripper, but we already covered that case.
Right, and we covered it before they finalized it, which was really cool.
It's true.
We took a risk. We did, because you were calling me out on it. You were like, wait, DNA doesn't work that way. But then the UK did it with mitochondrial DNA, which apparently does work that way.
Mitochondrial DNA doesn't change very much.
So that's good. I mean,
yeah.
I'm glad it turned out to be accurate so that we didn't look like idiots for reporting on it.
Yeah.
You know? All right. So this one, since you then since those are the so if those are the only two you've heard about this week, then I'm going to assume you know nothing about this as usual.
Let's rock.
All right.
Yes.
So let's start here. What's a story that you believed as a kid that you probably understood was irrational, but you still kind of believed in it anyway?
That's a great question. I was kind of a precocious little kid, so that's a tough one to come up
I was
off the
going to
spot.
say,
I guess
and
you
can't say Santa Claus or the Easter Bunny. You can't say those two.
Okay. Well, I wasn't going to because I don't know if I ever actually bought into that. I don't think I have anything. Nothing comes to mind. What do you got?
So I mean, I don't know if I truly believed in it, but I wanted so badly to believe in the possibility of future time travel.
Ooh, okay.
As a result of that,
what?
Go ahead.
Oh, you know what? I thought of one.
Go ahead.
There was a good time as a child when I genuinely believed a little bit that I could use the Force.
I love it. What made you think you could use the Force?
Yeah, I think I believe that.
Did you think you could move things with your mind, or what were you doing?
Yeah, I thought when we would play board games and stuff, that I could really intensely use my mind to get better rolls.
All right. I like that. For me, and believe it or not, this is still true to this day. For me, because I'm hoping that time travel is a thing and that a future version of myself will come back in time to redirect me from something horrible, I
Mm-hmm.
I have a question in my head to ask my future self to prove that he is me.
Oh, I love that you're so prepared for it.
Well, here's the funny part of it. I won't share the question with anyone because I know my friend group well enough that if they could pull off an elaborate prank where they meet someone who looks like me but older and
Oh,
they
of course.
decide to fuck with me, I don't tell them that question just so that I don't have to fall for the gag.
Oh, okay, but on your deathbed someday, are you gonna ask the question and see if anyone can get it?
Well, I don't want to say it now because once if even if a hint will give it away to anyone who knows me well enough.
Okay, because I'm like, I feel like
If I
I
if
would want to guess.
So with all that said, as dumb as these beliefs can sometimes be, this case tonight actually involves preteens who believed in something, regardless of how irrational it was, and it led them down a pretty dark path.
Damn. Well, that's preteen vibes. That's about how old I was when I thought I could use the force.
All right, so again, at the center of this case are three middle school girls. And their names are, we have Morgan Geyser, who was born on May 16th, 2002 to Matt and Angie Geyser. Now, her childhood and family life was fairly average and normal, nothing super crazy. According to one of her former classmates, she was smart, capable, and relaxed until they both hit about fourth grade. At that
That's
point,
when that anxiety hit.
which is still weird, that seems so young to me still. That's only 10.
Puberty, man.
No, but it's only 10. I mean, maybe she did hit puberty early.
That's normal. Yeah,
Is it?
unfortunately these days that's not that abnormal.
Wow. Okay. I'm glad you're here for that because I would have assumed it was way too young.
When you were that age, that probably wasn't normal.
Yeah,
But
we're talking the early
it's gotten
80s.
younger
Yeah.
and younger, which is kind of crazy.
I think maybe that has to do with what the food we're eating, like the milk, the hormones in the milk and stuff like that.
I don't think we really know why it's happening,
Weird. We should start
but
a
yeah, it's
medical
definitely
fund.
it's a phenomenon that exists.
All right, I believe you. I'm just surprised that because 10 seems really young to me, but what do I know? Really?
Yeah. Who knows? We're all just speculating about why this girl has anxiety anyway.
Well, at that point, that classmate said she started becoming obsessed with suicide.
Ooh, that's a dark. Okay.
Yeah, at 10.
Ooh.
So the next girl that we're going to talk about is Anissa Weier, and she was born on November 10th, 2001 to Bill and Christy Weier, and she grew up in Waukesha, Wisconsin. And lastly, there was Payton Leutner, also known as Bella, and they met in school, as kids do, and they bonded over their similar interest and that sort of intensity that little kids will sometimes have in their friendships.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know about you, but my best friend growing up, he and I are one, we're still friends to this day, which is amazing. But like we were like passionately defensive of one another. We were always there for each other. We honestly at one point in our teen years, we thought we'd both commit suicide together in long before we were like 30 years old.
Yeah.
So there's an intensity there.
There is a vibe there. Yeah, that's kids.
So Morgan and Peyton especially were close, and they had become friends first. Peyton recalled that when she befriended Morgan, she befriended her because she saw her eating alone at lunch one day. And she described Morgan as funny, but a little lonely. And Morgan was imaginative, like deeply so. She was artistic and quirky and sometimes socially awkward and sometimes isolated. Teachers and classmates described her as kind, but off in her own world. Which I know of quite a few people like this, so this doesn't seem strange to me, but apparently in the early 2000s it was.
You know, that doesn't seem that weird to me, but
I just realized I
that
said
sounds like ADHD.
maybe. Yeah, I mean, I don't know enough about it, despite the fact that I think I may have adult ADHD, but
I know a lot about ADHD, and that's what that sounds like to me, but
okay.
it's often recognized later in girls, so that's also typical.
Well, I realized I also said the early 2000s just then, but at this point they're about 10 or 10 years old or older, so that might not be. We might
Gotcha.
be in the 2010s by now.
We're firmly in the 2010s. All right.
All right. So her family loved Morgan, and no one realized that she was developing symptoms of early onset schizophrenia.
Ooh.
mainly because that doesn't
That's
really
very early.
exactly. It doesn't show up so young. Exactly.
Yeah, it usually doesn't show up till like you're a young adult. That's crazy.
Now, Anissa, she was the newest of the trio of friends, and she struggled with loneliness and bullying herself. So these three girls together, they meshed well. And they were bright, but none of them had any histories of violence. They hadn't even been in trouble. So Anissa often found escape from and comfort online. She would watch YouTube videos. She would watch the like horror channel networks on different websites. I don't know if you know what a creepypasta forum is.
I do know what a creepypasta is,
Right. That
yes.
was one of her go-tos. Now
This
for
is
those
very 2010s.
yeah, for those who don't know, creepypasta is a term for internet horror stories, often user-generated, and they are shared widely online and can be copied and pasted and shared, right? That's the whole point of it. And
Hmm.
unfortunately, some people think these are true as they get shared like multiple times, and you can't find the source of it, so people think it's true. And unfortunately, we're dumb these days, so everyone thinks
Right. It's
shit's
a
true.
it's a modern urban legend, really.
Basically. And one of these, the most important to this case, was Slender Man.
Oh, oh, oh man, is this gonna be a real case based on Slender Man?
Yes.
Oh,
Now,
goodness gracious. What a time to be alive.
for those who don't know what Slender Man is a fictional character created in 2009 by Eric Knudsen for the Something Awful forums. Okay. Slender Man is depicted as a tall, thin, faceless man in a black suit who lurks in the forest, stalks and abducts people, primarily children, and has supernatural abilities.
And there was a video game, and me, a young horror buff, used to play it by myself at home with all the lights turned off. I
Scaring
wanted to get freaked out
scaring the shit out of yourself for no reason
for
whatsoever.
fun, man. That's what I was into.
Oh, I love it. And with that said, that's a nice little springboard because for some kids, and let's be honest, probably some adults, Slender Man didn't seem all that fictional. And for Morgan and Anissa, the character took on a life completely outside the internet and creepypasta. They actually believed that he was real and that he could harm them. Somehow they
I mean, when people are writing stories, sometimes stories are compelling.
agreed. And I've found myself believing in things. Like, I'm going to, small tangent. I fell prey or victim to the Blair Witch Project movie before it came out. They
Oh, really?
they did that so perfectly. I would say about a year before the movie came out, maybe. Don't quote me on the exact timeline here. They started putting up missing posters at certain college campuses for the three kids that were the main characters in that movie. And
Oh, that's
so
genius.
before anyone knew anything, there were rumblings on college campuses about these three kids that went missing looking for the Blair Witch. Then they released a mockumentary style thing, even though it wasn't presented as fake, about the
Hmm.
history of the Blair Witch. And it ends with how these three kids disappeared. And
Damn.
yeah, and then the movie came out. So my friend and I,
That is brilliant marketing.
it was genius. And my friends and I went to see it, and I remembered sitting there because it's a relatively boring movie, like it's,
Hmm.
but like by the end, our hands were over our faces, like our mouths, like holy fuck. And then when the way it ended and the way the credits were going, we were looking at each other like, what the fuck? And we waited until the very end where it says this is based on fiction, blah 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 blah. We believed it up until that moment.
That's correct. Well, I feel like horror has a way of doing that. And it's like no matter how illogical it is, like if you watch something that really gets to you, like you're gonna be afraid to go outside. You're gonna be afraid to go in your basement. Like
Right.
no matter how much of a rational, adult you think you are, it
I
can really get
agree.
to you.
I agree. And that one got us. I'm not gonna lie. We didn't necessarily believe in the supernatural aspect of it. Just that was actual found footage. We fell for it.
Right.
So I don't blame these kids to a degree.
Right.
So with that said, Morgan and Anissa believed that they somehow had to prove they would be loyal to Slender Man. They believed that they would become his proxies, as in his followers.
Dang.
And somehow in this world they created, they thought there was only one way to do that, and that was to kill their friend.
What the fuck? All right.
Yep.
We've gone past the point already.
Well, here we go. Their plan began months before their actual attack. These girls went to school and they whispered about Slender Man using code words so that it wouldn't draw any attention to what they were really talking about. They watched videos, read stories late at night, and over time, they knew exactly what they were going to do. Now, psychologists later explained that Morgan was already showing signs of hallucinations and delusions, and she had trouble distinguishing fantasy from reality. Anissa, who was the more grounded of the two, was unfortunately emotionally vulnerable, and she sort of became swept up in Morgan's belief structure.
Right, and if I'm imagining that Morgan was really like secure in these delusions, and it was
right,
easy to follow along, especially when you're vulnerable.
Exactly. Early onset schizophrenia made her very confident.
Mm-hmm.
So in a weird way, these two, the way they're behaving, I kind of see it similar to like a cult, where one person believes something and then the other person buys into it, and then they just keep feeding each other. Yeah.
Yeah. Very culty. And we know that happens to adults all the time.
Exactly. Because you have one child who can't tell fact from fiction because her delusions feel real, and the other one is so desperate for acceptance that, again, they're both feeding into this delusion. And the two of them decided that their victim needed to be their friend Payton.
Oh.
Anissa and Morgan set the original date for their attack to be May 30th, 2014, which was Morgan's birthday.
Oh, that's fucked up.
I guess it's better than Payton's birthday, I guess.
Yeah.
So their first plan was to tape Payton's mouth shut and stab her in the neck.
Oh.
However, they didn't carry out this attack because they were apparently too tired to do so that night. Now, their second plan involved attacking Payton in a local park's bathroom because they wanted to use the drains in there for Payton's blood.
Jesus Christ.
At least they thought that far ahead, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, these are like just children thinking about this. This is insane.
Yeah, at this point, they're 12 years old. That plan also never happened. Instead, the girls hung out for the first day and night on Morgan's birthday, and they laughed, they ate snacks, they went roller skating, they played games. They had a normal night, and Payton had no idea that she was in any danger at all.
Jesus.
The next morning, Morgan and Anissa suggested that they all go for a walk in the nearby woods. And Payton, trusting her friends, she went with them. Why wouldn't she?
Right, no reason not to.
In the woods, the girls then suggested that they play a game of hide and seek. Again, I mean, 12 might be a little old for that, but maybe not.
Yeah, just when you're that old, you call it manhunt instead. And it's the same game.
There you go. But soon after they started playing, Anissa pushed Payton to the ground and sat on her. After a short struggle, Anissa got off Payton and stood to the side when Morgan started going quote-unquote ballistic and began stabbing her repeatedly.
Oh.
Morgan stabbed Payton 19 times in the arms, legs, and torso with a 5-inch blade.
Fucking Christ.
One stab missed an artery by less than a millimeter, and another went through her diaphragm, cutting into her liver and stomach.
Oh my God.
After the attack, the two told Payton, who was still struggling and trying to get up and, defend herself, they told her to lay quietly and remain still so that she would lose less blood.
Oh my God.
They then told her that
I can't believe these children are doing this.
It's crazy. 12 years old. They then told her that they would go get help. But of course, Morgan and Anissa left her there as they went off to find Slender Man, leaving Payton to die.
Oh my God.
Now, Payton was seriously injured, but she was still alive. And somehow, despite her condition, she crawled through the trees and out onto a roadside where a cyclist spotted her and called 911.
Oh, thank God.
Yeah, this is another survivor story.
Oh, okay. Oh, that helps.
Yeah, so you can take that tension out a little bit.
Okay, all right.
I do
Still
like
horrific. I mean, it doesn't change how horrific a 12-year-old attempting murder on another 12-year-old is.
agreed. And again, when we get to the end, you'll see why we're talking about this. But I normally wouldn't put two survivor stories so close together. But again, this is fresh in the news right now.
Mm, all right.
Morgan and Anissa would be found hours later walking near Interstate 94 in Wisconsin, carrying a backpack with clothing and granola bars.
Oh, they're trying to run away and find Slender Man.
They told police they were on their way to Slender Man's mansion, which they believed was located deep in the Nicollet National Forest.
What the hell?
You got me, man. The girls were eerily calm because in their mind, they had done what was necessary to protect themselves from this supernatural figure.
Crazy. It doesn't sound like they're trying to protect themselves. It sounds like they're trying to like
Become like
worship it.
Yeah, demons to the devil kind of thing.
Yeah.
In interviews with the girls, they revealed a chilling clarity into their belief. They spoke matter-of-factly about Slender Man watching them, about the consequences of disobedience, and about their fear that their families would be killed if they didn't comply.
Oh my God, this is fucking bizarre. It makes me think like there was someone online manipulating them.
We're going to keep going.
All right.
Yeah, that would be an interesting take, though. I'm not going to lie. It's not the case, I should
Mm-hmm.
say. Yeah, that would definitely be an interesting thing, but unfortunately, this is all Morgan's delusions.
Oof.
Yeah. Now, police officers listening to these girls' explanations understood quickly that this was not a typical juvenile crime. Psychological evaluations began almost immediately. Now, Payton, meanwhile, she survived an emergency surgery, but obviously her recovery, both emotionally and physically, would take time and years realistically.
Yeah. I mean, do you ever psychologically recover from that? I don't know.
Your two best friends trying to kill you? I don't know.
Suddenly out of nowhere, like how do you ever trust anyone again?
Right, and then when you later find out it was to some imaginary being, that's fucking crazy.
God, the rage.
I don't know what I would do. Like, again, looking back at the fact that my friend and I have been friends for over 40 years now. If he tried to kill me that many years ago for whatever, it'd just blow my fucking mind.
Yeah.
So the public struggled to make sense of what happened. Parents began to wonder how could children believe in something, so strongly that they tried to kill their friend.
Mm-hmm.
Wisconsin law requires serious charges against juveniles for them to be charged as adults. So this became a huge case because they're 12. And I think most of the time if you're under 14, you're kind of not, that's not even a gray area, but this became a gray area.
Yeah. Because this is crazy.
Right. Both Morgan and Anissa were charged with attempted first-degree intentional homicide. But as evaluations continued, Morgan's diagnosis of early onset schizophrenia became impossible to ignore. Psychiatrists testified that she was experiencing hallucinations and delusions long before the attack. Now,
Interesting.
In 2017, Anissa accepted a plea deal. She acknowledged her role, but cited her belief in Slender Man as a mitigating factor.
Crazy.
She was sentenced to 25 years in a mental health facility.
All right.
Morgan then accepted a plea of not guilty by reason of mental disease or defect.
Ugh.
She was committed to a psychiatric institution for a maximum term of 40 years. Now, keep in mind, these are not prison sentences.
Right.
And I don't think they should have been. Not for 12-year-olds.
Right, it wouldn't help anything. I mean, they clearly this is, I mean, in a way, it's prison. You can't leave.
Yeah, no, it's similar, but at least they're getting help versus just being thrown to the wolves.
Right, exactly. Which is really, I mean, if you're 12, that's a death sentence, realistically.
Yeah, you can't defend yourself that small, that young.
And I mean, you'd probably go to a juvenile facility, but like, what I mean is like, how are you going to get an education?
That's a good question. I don't know what kind of I mean, I would assume they would offer some kind of educational thing in a
But I
juvenile
would
facility.
assume that it's garbage,
Yeah,
and these kids are just going to be fucked.
exactly. So again, they were sentenced to mental health commitments, which would focus on treatment, stabilization, and eventual reintegration into society if and only if professionals thought it was safe to do so. Oh,
Right. Although we've seen what happens with that before.
yes, we have. Over the years, both Morgan and Anissa underwent extensive therapy and psychiatric treatments. Courts have periodically reviewed petitions for conditional release and monitored their progress in these facilities. Because both of them were minors at the time of the crime, and because mental health records are protected, the public was not given detailed insight into their daily lives or medical or mental conditions. So
Right.
they
And
have
their children.
right. So the public has no idea what's really happening inside those places. And this is intentional for the purposes of rehabilitation, not public spectacle. Which
Right.
yeah, and let's be honest. People would love to have that as a fucking reality TV show if they could.
Oh, absolutely they would.
I hate to say it, I might watch an episode or two just out of curiosity, you
Right.
know?
It's natural to be curious. I mean, especially about the taboo.
Exactly. So Morgan's case especially underlined the painful truth that early onset schizophrenia is rare, but when it does appear, it can be incredibly difficult to recognize. Slender Man was obviously not the cause of this crime. He's,
Yeah.
I mean, we know this, right? He's a fictor, but
Mm-hmm.
he's the fictional lens through which her untreated mental illness decided to express itself.
Right. It could have been anything else. It could have been fucking Chucky the doll. It could have been, you know,
Anything. You're right.
whatever guy.
It,
Anyone from any movie.
exactly. Jason, Freddy, right.
Exactly.
And Anissa had used the internet, which provided her a sense of belonging that she couldn't find anywhere else, until she got caught up in Morgan's belief and she spiraled. And she, too, would certainly benefit from therapy and treatment. Now, Payton Leutner has since spoken in interviews about her recovery. She has described resilience, trauma, long-term healing, and the kind of strength it took to rebuild trust in the world in general, which is crazy.
Yeah.
Anissa was given conditional release in July of 2021 from the Winnebago Mental Health Institute in Oshkosh after being treated for 4 years.
Okay.
The conditions of her release required her to live with her father, submit to round-the-clock GPS monitoring, and receive psychiatric treatment. She is only allowed to use the internet at home, and the State Department of Corrections monitors her online activity.
Okay.
Anissa also has a case manager to monitor her medications for post-traumatic stress disorder, anxiety, and a personality disorder. Her cell phone
Gotcha.
Her cell phone can't access the internet, and she is not allowed to use social media at all.
That is for the best.
It is, but at this point, I mean, she is an adult now. So this is where I'm a little weirded out by it. Like, at what point is she allowed to be more free, I guess, more autonomous?
Well, she did participate in attempted murder.
She
So,
she did, but she was
child or not.
but she was 12 is all I'm saying. And
Yeah.
and
See,
to
we were all 12. We didn't all attempt murder.
agreed. She also isn't allowed to consume alcohol or drugs. She's not allowed to enter a bar, possess a weapon, or obviously have any contact with Payton or her family.
Right. I mean, 2021, that's 7 years later. She's not even old enough to be in a bar.
Oh, gee, I didn't even think of that. That's funny.
Right? She'd be 19.
Well, As far as I
Or
can
maybe
tell,
20.
as I dug as deep as I could, Anissa has kept her head down and is now a law-abiding citizen. In
Good.
early,
And I'm hopefully will stay that way. I mean, clearly this was under the influence of Morgan.
right, and again, the extreme circumstances of it all, I don't think that kind of, perfect storm would happen again in at least Anissa's life.
Right.
One would hope, right?
Yeah. And I'm sure like they can figure out why this happened and that like this girl was really just like listening to the other one and most
Right,
people weren't subjected to that kind of insane manipulation.
right. Now,
People
in
do join cults.
in early 2025, a judge approved Morgan's conditional release.
Hmm.
She was to live under supervision in a group home with a monitoring bracelet tracking her movements. But before this, there were red flags.
Hmm.
At a hearing in March of 2025, prosecutors raised alarm bells. They claimed that she had been reading quote-unquote gory novels about black market organ sales and murder, and
Hmm.
that she was communicating with a man who collected murder memorabilia.
Yeah, I hate that.
She had at one point sent him a sketch of a decapitated body along with a postcard revealing that she wanted to be intimate with him. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't really think she should be released.
However, 3 doctors involved in Morgan's treatment testified that she had made significant progress and should be released, pointing to reports that she had suffered no symptoms after being weaned off her antipsychotic medications and that she had improved her coping skills.
I don't know about that.
A Dr. Ken Robbins testified that Morgan could actually become more dangerous if she remained confined to the center, saying that it was possible for her to become defeated with her treatment and lose hope. He said, quote, "The longer she's there at this point, the harder it's going to be to reintegrate," unquote.
Ah, right. So you're tired of dealing with her. Cool. Good talk.
And so, the judge ultimately determined that it is not uncommon for mental illness diagnoses to evolve and ruled that Morgan wasn't hiding anything intentionally, and he granted her release. Like, she wasn't hiding that she was talking to this guy. So he let her out.
This is insane.
At one of the hearings to determine where Morgan would be living, the hospital was originally planning to send her to a group home that was right near where Payton Leutner lived.
Absolutely the fuck not.
Once they realized that, it was decided that that would have been extremely dangerous to do, and, probably on both sides of that argument, so they found a different group home for Morgan.
Good.
Then came November 22nd, 2025.
Jesus. Okay. Like a
Told you.
week ago.
Yeah, I told you this is fresh. Morgan Geyser cut off her GPS monitoring device, the one imposed as a condition of her release.
Mm-hmm.
And she left the group home in Madison, Wisconsin at around 8 p.m., reportedly with an adult acquaintance.
Great.
The bracelet went offline shortly after she cut it off, triggering an alert with the Department of Corrections. Both amazingly and unsurprisingly, authorities did not notify police right away.
Amazing. Oh, I'm so shocked.
The Department of Corrections issued an apprehension request around midnight, so 4 hours later, but that alert apparently wasn't relayed to the Madison Police Department.
Oh my God.
It wasn't until a staff member called 911 the next morning that the Madison Police Department responded and issued a missing person alert.
Missing person.
Yeah, at this point, she's a missing person.
Interesting.
In that alert, police shared a recent surveillance image of Morgan and asked the public for help. Her attorney made a public plea for Morgan to surrender herself.
Jesus. Yeah, I mean, it's bad luck.
Yeah, big time.
Getting locked back up after this girl.
Fortunately, just 1 day later, on November 23rd, Morgan was found and taken into custody in Pawson, Illinois, about 170 miles away from her group home.
Wow, she moved fast.
Well, police received a report regarding a male and a female loitering behind a truck stop. Authorities said that Morgan and this acquaintance were last seen when they were traveling by bus out of Wisconsin to reach that location. Body camera footage of the officers that arrived at this call showed them approaching two individuals, and they were asking them to identify themselves. However, a defiant Morgan initially refused to reveal her identity, telling them, "I don't want to give you my name." The officer...
You do have a right to say that, I guess, but
you do.
she probably doesn't.
The officer attempted to reason with her, and one of the deputies asked, "You're not wanted for murder, right?" Which is hilarious because he doesn't know who she is.
Oh, he doesn't?
No, at this point, these cops they're approaching a couple hanging out behind a truck stop.
Right.
Following multiple attempts to identify her, Morgan admitted that she didn't want to tell the officers her name because she had, quote, "done something really bad," unquote, and suggested
that then she's not in her right mind, so really she should not be released.
And she suggested the officers, quote, "just Google her," unquote.
Without her name?
Yeah, well, then she provided them with a fake name.
And so Google her? Yeah, this bitch is out of her mind.
After a short back and forth, Morgan can be seen writing her name down on a piece of paper, which ultimately led the authorities to take her into custody.
Mm-hmm.
As she was being...
No, she's dumb.
She's so stupid. As she's being handcuffed, Morgan could be heard making an emotional plea to the officers to let her say goodbye to her companion, insisting that he didn't know who she really was and that she would never see him again.
I think he knows who you are.
Well, her companion is off to the side and he's shaking from the cold and occasionally struggling to speak. As the pair were escorted to the police vehicles, an officer could be heard saying, quote, "I hope she didn't commit a homicide. The way she's talking, she's saying it's really, really bad," unquote.
Oh.
Authorities also discovered a book titled Homeless Couple's Guidebook among Morgan's belongings as she was being arrested.
Lord.
So they were literally planning on running off and being homeless somewhere.
Rather than be in the group home. Yeah, she should be in a facility.
The male subject located with Morgan was also taken into custody and identified as 43-year-old Chad Mecca.
Gross.
I know, right?
Very gross.
Mecca, yeah, she's what, 20-something at best at this point?
Right.
Yeah. Mecca was subsequently released from custody after being charged with criminal trespassing and providing false information to police. He would tell the media later that she ran because of me.
Wow, I don't know if I would say that.
Mecca reportedly added that the pair had met at a church and had seen each other on a daily basis for months leading up to Morgan's running.
Yeah, pretty sure he noticed her fucking GPS bracelet.
Right? In a court hearing on November 25th, 2025, Morgan Geyser agreed not to contest her transfer from Illinois to Wisconsin, like her extradition.
Mm-hmm.
Waukesha County District Attorney Leslie Bowes told reporters that the state would have to decide whether they were going to file a petition to revoke her conditional release, which, let's be honest, that's likely.
Yeah, you gotta.
There's no way they're going to let this woman out again.
No.
Mecca was released on a citation and is due to appear back in court on January 15th of 2026. As a result of her escape, authorities could decide to revoke her conditional release, as we've said, and I 100% absolutely think they should. Like, there's no reason to let her
I
out.
completely agree.
And I have zero doubt that Payton has seriously been re-traumatized because of this.
100%. That is fucking terrifying. I feel so bad for her.
When it was announced that she was on the run, no one saw Payton immediately, but her family did come out and say that she was safe. But
Good.
and that's where we're at with that case. We're waiting to see what happens next. And I don't normally do this,
Wow.
but this was so fresh. I was like, we have to do it.
Yeah, and just like that's fucking nuts. I mean, I know we only hear the cases because this is the show that it is of when releases are bad, so I don't know the actual statistics on like how often these doctors are right versus wrong about
Right.
releasing people. But goddamn,
Yeah,
they were really wrong this time.
well, and that's just it. Like authorities within the facility were like, don't release her. And yet they do
Right.
it anyway, probably because they
I
feel
feel like
bad.
it should be like a veto. Like if anyone says no, then no.
Agreed. Agreed. It has to be a unanimous decision to release somebody.
Yeah.
Crazy. But yeah, that's the case of the Slender Man stabbing. I
That's fucking nuts. Wow.
I thought for sure you would have seen something about this in the news, but I guess not. So
Algorithms, man.
yeah, I believe me, I get nothing but this kind of stuff because of my searches and shit.
Yeah, I get nothing but like video game recommendations and political happenings, pretty much.
That's so funny. There's a movie out called Slender Man that I never watched, and I guess they had to delay its release because of this case.
Oh my God. Yeah, I guess I'm not
Yeah.
that surprised.
No, I'm
But
not
like again,
either.
it was like this was like a dumb, stupid. I guess I'm older than they were.
Right.
But I'm like, this is a dumb, stupid internet thing.
But yet at 12 years old and with the delusions that schizophrenia brought along, they didn't know that.
Right.
So
Right. Wild. What a
cra-
case.
crazy how it works. And the fact that it like I said, as you said, it was a week ago ish that she escaped or went on the run.
Yeah.
Fucking crazy. So
Glad they caught her and glad
agreed.
Peyton's okay.
And as far as we know, no one has been hurt during her escape.
Good. It sounds like they were just moving.
Yeah, they spent a day traveling from Wisconsin to Illinois on a bus. So who knows what they were doing? They were probably being more intimate than they were homicidal, you know?
Gross. But yeah, you're right.
Probably. All right. So thank you everyone for joining us. Once again, I'm Janice Dead,
And I'm Joyous Dead.
and we'll see you next week.
Bye.